Liberal side, there's two camps now. The we need to keep talking to people wing and the go no contact wing. That's what they call it now, go no contact. This belief that Trump voters, even if it's your own parents, are too deplorable for human contact and must be cut off.
The woke virus is alive, and it's growing on the far left. The cancel culture is back, coming after anyone who dares to speak their mind. And Bill Maher is furious. In a string of explosive episodes on Real Time, Maher went off on the left for attacking free speech, and it was savage. As always, hit subscribe. Let's get into it.
Became code for I'm the only one with a moral compass. You know what would have been a better exercise? Write a top 10 list to yourself where you try to imagine 10 reasons why 77 million Americans didn't want to trust you with taking power. And I say that as someone who votes Democratic. As I like to remind my very pure friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
What's really driving Maher up the wall is the sheer hypocrisy of it all. The left, the very people who built their entire identity around championing free speech, are now the ones strangling it. They marched for it. They fought for it. And now they're destroying it. What makes it even worse is that some of them have been victims of censorship themselves and still refuse to connect the dots. Maher pointed to Lisa Cook, a federal board member, as a perfect example. She knows firsthand what it feels like to be silenced and targeted. Yet, even she turned around and tried to fire a professor, not for anything criminal, not for anything dangerous, but simply because a student complained that the professor wasn't enthusiastic enough about Martin Luther King Day. Think about that. A lack of enthusiasm is now a fireable offense. The left isn't protecting free speech anymore. They're increasingly restricting it.
When she tried to get another professor fired because he once, according to one student, was less than rapturous about Martin Luther King Day? No, she should know better. She said free speech should have its limits. Yes, it should, and does. And this comes nowhere close to them. But it also can't become what the UK is now. A place where you get arrested for tweets. Something that happens 12,000 times a year now in Britain.
Here's what makes this whole thing even more bizarre. It's not conservatives doing the canceling. It's the left canceling their own. That's right. The left is eating itself alive, turning on its own members the moment they step even slightly out of line. And the examples are impossible to ignore. J.K. Rowling, one of the most celebrated authors in human history, faced major backlash and calls for cancellation after stating that biological men should not be competing in women's sports or walking into women's bathrooms. Dave Chappelle, one of the greatest comedians alive, faced similar backlash for daring to question another leftist absurdity. These aren't fringe voices. These are giants, and the left came for them anyway. But here's the punchline. Through all of this, the left still stands in the mirror every single day and calls itself the proud defender of free speech. The irony is absolutely staggering.
It may be crude, but there's plenty of non-crazy people, liberal people, who think the left has gone a little mad with trans issues. Some have expressed that opinion with literary sophistication, like J.K. Rowling. Some by getting big laughs, like Dave Chappelle.
Now, to be clear, Maher isn't out here arguing that free speech is some wild, unlimited, anything-goes free-for-all. Nobody reasonable is making that argument. Free speech has limits, and those limits are clearly spelled out in the Constitution. That's what courts are for. That's what defamation laws are for. If someone genuinely crosses the line, if they lie about you, slander your name, or damage your reputation, there are legal avenues built specifically for that purpose. You can take them to court. You can fight back through the system. That is the right and proper way to seek justice. But canceling someone, destroying their career, silencing their voice, and burying their livelihood simply because their words made you uncomfortable or their opinion didn't align with yours, that is not justice. That moves away from open debate and toward public pressure campaigns. And Maher is calling it out for exactly what it is, a dangerous and slippery road that leads nowhere good.
A guy from North Yorkshire in Britain faced 2 years in prison for wearing a Halloween costume depicting the terrorist who bombed the Ariana Grande concert. Bad taste? Yeah, bad taste is the whole point of Halloween. This Scottish man was found guilty.
And this is where I stand firmly with Maher, because this isn't just a political problem anymore. It has become a deeply personal and human one. Families are being torn apart. Dinner tables that were once filled with laughter are now filled with silence and resentment. All because one side cannot stomach the fact that the other side thinks differently. People are cutting off their own blood, their own flesh and family simply for voting the wrong way in their eyes. And it doesn't get more telling than the story of Jimmy Kimmel's wife. There were reports that she sent emails to family members urging them not to vote for Trump.
This, Saudi Arabia is having a comedy festival this month. Really, Saudi Arabia. It's gonna be great. If you die on stage, you get 72 virgins. Chappelle is performing. If you told me years ago that Saudi Arabia would be cool to have Dave Chappelle speak, and England might arrest him, I would have said, what are you smoking?
But here's where things get even more twisted. This trend has evolved. It has mutated into something even uglier, because now it is no longer just about the left refusing to associate with Trump voters. That was bad enough. Now the left has turned on its own people, fellow leftists, card-carrying members of their own tribe. If you're on the left and you dare to have a civil conversation with a Trump voter, if you dare to listen, to understand, or to simply share the same air with someone who voted differently,
you're not even invited because you voted for the wrong person. I'm so tired of liberals ghosting half this country. Conservatives do it too, but not nearly as much. Look, whoever's doing it, it's got to stop, because we're at a point now where politics has broken up more families than letting your wife see your phone.
And this brings us to the cold, hard political reality that Maher is not afraid to speak out loud. Maher argued Kamala Harris lost in part because the Democrats built a wall around themselves and shut out more than half of the country. They stopped listening. They stopped engaging. They looked at tens of millions of ordinary, hardworking Americans and decided those people were not worth talking to. And that arrogance has a price. But here is what should terrify the Democratic Party even more.
Now, on the liberal side, there's two camps now. The we need to keep talking to people wing and the go no contact wing. That's what they call it now, go no contact. This belief that Trump voters, even if it's your own parents, are too deplorable for human contact and must be cut off. You know, like Scientologists do to suppressive people. A former speechwriter for Obama named David Litt wrote an op-ed this year called, "Is it time to stop snubbing your right-wing family?" where he admitted he'd had a change of heart and that was the wrong approach. So, of course, then the woke wing tried to banish him for breaking ranks on their policy of hating people who don't agree with you on everything, because what fun is life if you're not cutting somebody?
And at the core of everything Maher is saying lies one simple, profound truth that the Democrats seem to have completely forgotten. The people on the other side are human beings. They are not monsters. They are not demons. They are not some alien species that needs to be quarantined and kept away from polite society. They are mothers, fathers, neighbors, and coworkers who simply see the world differently. That is it. That is the only thing separating them. A difference in opinion, nothing more. And Maher doesn't just preach this, he lives it. He has sat across the table from Ted Cruz. He has had Marjorie Taylor Greene on his show. He has spoken directly with Donald Trump, a person who sits at the opposite end of virtually every belief he holds. And yet he talks to them. He engages. He listens because that is what adults do. That is what real champions of free speech do.
Mr. Litt asked the question, what has all this banishing accomplished? Oh, I know. A second helping of MAGA, that's what. Somewhere along the way, my values became code for I'm the only one with a moral compass. You know, it would have been a better exercise? Write a top 10 list to yourself, where you try to imagine 10 reasons why 77 million Americans...
At the end of the day, Maher's message is simple but powerful. Free speech is for everyone, not just the people you agree with. The left has lost its way, canceling itself, silencing dissent, and building walls instead of bridges. Families are broken, conversations are dead, and elections are being lost